Hi Pisces, welcome to a life path reading for April and May 2019. I'm Raina, and what is a life path reading? Well, I do an astrological one in my private readings. The information for that is below if you like the way that I operate. And basically, this will be different, obviously, because this is going to be general for all Pisces people, but also because it's using tarot cards instead of your natal chart. So just keep that in mind. But the theory is still the same, is that you came here to have certain, I was going to say to be a certain thing, but I didn't like saying that. I don't know if it's being a certain thing. I think that you possess certain gifts that the world will benefit from you sharing. And yet we're indoctrinated in a totally different way, starting from when we're very young. About you have to go to school and you got to get good grades and you got to go to college and you got to do this and you got to do that, but they don't tell you what is it that you really are passionate about. I mean, even a guidance counselor probably doesn't ask you that, although it might be on their forms. I'm not quite sure. But typically, we're not told to pursue things that are just really exciting to us. They may give us statistics. Well, you know, there are a lot of job openings in this field. Like, we're just supposed to conform to whatever the area is of greatest need. That, to me, is absolutely crazy. And I know that there are people out there that will take their advice and maybe even be okay. Because some people, when I look at people's astrological charts, if they have the sun in the 6th house, to me, it's not about what they do. It is the fact that they are humble servants. And they will do whatever it takes. And they want the most guarantee of a job. And that, to me, is beautiful. That's what they came here to do, is be a humble servant. But there are other people who came here to be artists. There are people who came here to be healers. And so it's not about just fitting into whatever the job market is about. That is, to me, you know, probably one of the worst things a person can do, unless they are, like I said, one of those workhorses that are very geared towards just, they love work itself. They don't care what work it is. And I totally believe that there are people like that, and God bless them, because they make the world go round for the rest of us. Okay? So, anyway, I'm not going to belabor that point too much, but that's kind of where I'm going with this. I created this spread yesterday, and I hope that it can give you maybe something to think about. That's pretty much my goal here. And I'll tell you, after I pick these cards, what each of them mean, or the positions, and what they mean for your life. Okay, this card... the only thing, I love these cards. This is the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, but it's hard to lift them up. Sometimes, not all the times. Okay, what a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. It's interesting. I just did Scorpio's reading, and I think I got all minor arcana cards too. What I like about the minor arcana cards is that they show that maybe for the next couple of months, the things that you do don't have to be big gestures. They can just be very small. They don't, you know, sometimes people think when they're changing their life that they have to do these dramatic things. And you know, maybe there are times where that is absolutely indicated, where you have to just completely change your life radically in a very short period of time for very specific circumstances. But overall, I think that it's even better to do things gradually, because then it's not so disruptive in your life in general and not such shock to the system. So where you are right now, 9 of Wands. Now, this card to me suggests having your guard up and having a barrier, like a wall up for some reason. And This can come through a lot of disappointments. Pisces is a very sensitive sign, so some of you may have just learned that putting a wall up is a way to protect your heart. But in this particular depiction, the Wild Unknown Tarot deck here, this almost looks like a ladder of success to me. I'm going to interpret it the way that I see it, with a bunch of branches kind of obscuring that ladder to success. So one of the things that you will find if you do not know how to read tarot cards and you want to learn, is that they say that you start off with the interpretations that are already out there, and then you kind of impose your own feelings onto the cards. And this is where the intuition comes in. I don't call myself a psychic. I don't call myself anything of the sort. And typically, if you've ever seen me do a reading before, I usually just, do it as is. But I'm realizing that a deck like this can really allow your mind to kind of roam, and you can maybe tap into something intuitive. So what I'm seeing here is that you're trying to ascend. You're trying to climb this ladder of success. And the wands, by the way, do connect with career matters. Also creativity, by the way. And independence. You're trying to climb this ladder, Pisces, but there are these obstructions along the way. One of the things that I've always found is that when something wasn't right for me, there were all kinds of hoops to jump through. There were all kinds of paperwork. There was all kinds of delays. There was all kinds of this and that. I'm just thinking of when I was trying to become a teacher, trying to get recommendations, trying to do this, and it was so exhausting because it was not happening. And now I realize it wasn't meant to be. My partner was telling me this over and over again. There's something else there for you. When I was getting all these doors closing. And I was rolling my eyes at him because I was thinking, well, whatever, I didn't just automatically believe what he was saying. But he was right. And the other thing, thinking about all of those branches and the fact that they represent, that the wands represent creativity. You may be trying to be successful in a worldly sense when you came here to be an artist. And to me, being an artist is like being a monk or being some kind of a saint or somebody who is renouncing the world, because you might not be like a rich artist necessarily. I'm not saying that you can't make a living from being an artist, but I don't think that it's a guarantee. And I don't want to say that in a bad way, though. But I think you know where my heart is going with that. If you're doing something for the big bucks, where you think it's going to bring you a profit right away, then you might not go into a creative field right away. But it may be nourishing for your soul. It may be necessary. And this other life may be doing something to you that causes you to become closed off more and more and more because you're trying to protect yourself. Being a sensitive person and being in this world where there's so many people who they're just trying to make as much money as they can without that sense of what are they contributing. And I'm not anti-money whatsoever. I am pro-money. I'm talking about going into a certain line of work because of that solely. And the reason I'm also saying this for you, Pisces, is because you have Jupiter in the 10th house of career. So there may be a lot of doors that have been opening for you in recent months. And you may be tempted to go through them. And I say go for it. But understand how it's having an impact on you perhaps emotionally, and if it's making you feel like you're not really, if you feel kind of closed off, because that isn't necessarily something that you want to, that's not necessarily a good impact on you. So just keep that in mind as you continue. And what do you want? So what is it that you, so, you know, where are you right now? Where do you want to be? 10 of Cups. Notice how we went to Cups. Notice how we went to the emotions. You are Cups. This is emotional. 10 of Cups is marriage and happily ever after. Okay? Now, I could just say, well, maybe you don't even want to be a career person at all. And then maybe if I'm speaking especially to a woman, maybe you just want to be a mother, a wife and a mother. And do you notice how I said just? Isn't that interesting that I use the word just, like it's second best? That could be how you feel, but you are indoctrinated to think it's just that. And of course it's not, but it could be that you want something that is emotionally fulfilling. Doesn't have to be with necessarily with an artistic thing. Maybe it has to do with being a social worker or a healer. I think a healer is even best, because when you're a social worker, you're still in that system, and you still, you know, a lot of people that I think end up being healers start out in the system in some way, the healthcare system, the social services system. And they want to heal others, but they realize they're up against all of this red tape and, you know, just wrong thinking. And they go into the healing arts, where they feel that it's more of an emphasis on the individual and the soul. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that connection to your spirit. First step that you have to take. I got this card for Scorpio, but in a different position. And what I was saying to Scorpio is, I'm glad I have this right on top, I can show you, is that the Seven of Wands, what does that represent to you? To me, I think of the eternal flame. I think of a little flame that we each have inside of ourselves that never dies, but can get like threatened with extinction, and also gets obscured because of different, you know, conditioning or events that happen that are very upsetting, and so it starts to flicker out. It starts to kind of dim. And basically, I mentioned how in my Morgan Greer deck, this is how they depict the Seven of Wands. And you see the defensive posture. It's so, I mean, look at the difference in these two artistic renderings of this card. One seems very much like this idea of, there's almost a delicacy with it. And this is like this aggressive counteraction, because it can be standing your ground. It can be like you fighting for the right to be who you are and for your dignity. But I'm going with this deck. Think about something that is a passion in your life. It could be art, it could be something, but something that is not currently you're doing in a way that you really feel you're taking seriously. Maybe something that you kind of put to the side because you just, you felt like you couldn't do it anymore. That it was stupid to do it because it wasn't paying the bills, or it wasn't, whatever. Maybe you like to make clothes. Maybe you wanted to design clothes. Or maybe you just wanted to have a daycare center. And something happened that discouraged you. all of those dreams, they're still there. They haven't died. So just that might be the first thing that you need to realize, is that your dream is still there. It's still waiting for you. It never left you. And that all you have to do is take that first step. And I was also saying to Scorpio that this is a time, this is the cardinal energy for the first few weeks in April, that is especially conducive. And you can feel it in your bones. You can feel when April rolls around that you just feel more like doing things. Maybe even in March when the sun goes into Aries. So, you know, tend to that flame. And it doesn't have to be, as I said, grandiose. It could be just a little bit at a time. And the outcome, the Six of Wands. And here's another card that I think is such a beautiful thing. What a beautiful depiction. Another Wands, more passion. The butterfly, you know, becoming who you really are, blossoming into that butterfly. This card connects with Leo. Maybe that's a timing card of the summer. Well, always have to remember the southern hemisphere, but you know, in a few months when the sun is in Leo, maybe that will be when you will taste have your first taste of success. But this is a card of success. And so success, you know, this, you might have thought you were pursuing success, but you had no idea what it really meant until you were doing what you loved. Until you do what you love to do, to me, you're not really experiencing success, no matter what job title you have, no matter how much money you make. And the proof is in the pudding of people that you may know who, you know, are successful on paper, but they're miserable in their private life. Okay? So we have to, I mean, when I think of fire energy, and you have this fire energy here, 3 out of the 4 cards were wands. So it's important. And even the 10 of cups, fire and cups, wands and cups, are passion and emotion. So it's all about that, and not acting like it's like that is meaningless. No, it's everything. It's everything. So anyway, Pisces, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you'd like an astrological version of this, you know, as a private reading using your natal chart, please click on the link below. And check out my website in general, rainamoonAstrology.com. Take care. Bye.